Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Brett A. Hanson, and welcome to the podcast. This is Cut to Brett. My name is Brett A. Hanson. I already said that, but I'm just going to talk about my experience I had for the short films I worked on for Adventure Week, for my church as the cinematographer, visual effects artist, sound designer, somewhat music composer, small parts. But yeah, I'm going to talk about it now. And this guy, the Sennheiser, kind of has something to do with it where we talk about with the audio. So I'll put this guy down. This is cool, by the way. So we got this microphone and this guy right here. If you can hear that, I'm just testing it with new microphones for lavaliers system. I'm getting ready for a short film this year, or a couple, realistically. But anyways, let's put this guy down real quick. Now we're back on the dynamic for this. Sure. All right. So pretty much what came to play is where I was going to be the cinematographer, kind of main camera guy for the short films. The theme was Western, so I'm going to check my notes real quick. I believe we went to Temecula in California, where we did rented like Airbnb for the set there. They had a place there that had it was just decked out like Western themed, where you can stay there. It was pretty cool. It's like the set actually being kind of like on set for a short film was pretty cool, because usually what we do is we find like locations like say beaches or like forests or parks nearby. That's kind of what we usually do. This is the first time we kind of went rented a place and went on set for the short film. So that was kind of cool. We have built one before, like a set during COVID with a green screen set. So we did build a whole set one time. But this is the first time we actually just went to a place and kind of just stayed put for the whole thing, which was pretty awesome. So everybody there was pretty awesome. Everybody had decked out with their characters, the costumes, but it was tailored towards kids, so we couldn't do any gunplay, unfortunately. So that was kind of bummed out. But we did do a water balloon hit, so that was kind of fun especially with the super slow motion. But that was pretty fun. So I'll probably get to the point about the audio part. So this project was pretty interesting for me. I learned definitely a lot, and it was almost my first failed project. I had ones that are kind of like the quality wasn't great, but I almost had this was very close to being a failed project, because the audio was having a big headache, and we had to have lavaliers to have the talent on. The boom was pretty good. We have that as a backup, thank God, because I had some shots where that saved some of the shots where I was mixing between the stuff, and it was just kind of wild. Okay, well, I'm get to the point of the issue. So pretty much what happened with the lavs is I had it where we had the DJI's first generation and the Rode Pros, and the DJI actually worked pretty well. I like this on the DJI's where it has the lock for the recording internally, which is great. On the Rodes, it doesn't have that, and that's going to be a problem I'll talk about in a sec. But for some reason on the recorder, when it had all the signal going to my Zoom recorder, that's why I'm recording this podcast with off to the side here. And some reason it had a weird frequency when I recorded into the device. It had a weird pulsing or just noise. It just it was constant throughout, and it was just sometimes it worked, but more than not, it didn't work. So I had to scratch all of those. Thank goodness I had the internal recording into the devices themselves. DJI's worked fine, but some reason the Rode did not. So I had it recording, but it kept turning on and off. My guess on the Rode, I think the record button, it's kind of beveled out a little bit, so it's easy to whack it. And I'm pretty sure I had them in a pocket. So my guess, by them just running, doing their normal action for their scenes, kept turning the recorder on and off. And I had recordings that were just on and off, on and off, on and off, like less than a second. And it's what the heck is going on, kind of thing. And those mics were ruined. And then the first day, that was the kind of the main dialogue that we had to get through, kind of thing. It's okay. And the thunder just worked out. Well, that day we couldn't redo it. It's okay, we're stuck with this, and I have to figure out how to make it work. So think again that we had a boom in the shot, or another actor had his audio that happened to be working, because sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. So I was trying to scratch my head, what the heck is going on? So how I fixed it recording-wise in the Rode, I had it where it's locked. So as soon as you turn that sucker on, it's recording, and you cannot stop until you turn that sucker off. It had the long audio files from that, but it was a peace of mind after the first day, because that happened on the first day. So that was kind of a problematic of it. But I'll see one other thing. Oh yeah, so the other thing I had issue with is, even when I got all set up, when I had all the microphones going at the same time, they had the phasing issue, because I never had to deal with that before. And like I think what the when they went through the review sections of the cuts, it's like it sounds echoey. It's like echoey, like because they're all lined up, like they're within a frame of sync of all each other kind of thing. But I think they were just subframes off just enough all with each other, especially with the live recordings and the shotgun mic, and it was probably push in, push out, so it was dynamically moving around, and it was phasing out. So it just drove me nuts. Like it drove me nuts enough. It drove me nuts enough times. Wow, that's a tongue twister. That I started looking for some phase. I started looking about phasing audio, how to fix it with was it like Nuendo, Cubase, Logic, or just trying to find solutions. There was like mostly manual kind of thing, but I did find a piece of software. I believe it's called let's see, what was it called? A Post-Align 2, I think. I'll do like a little cutaway shot of it, of the software, and kind of how I used it in Resolve. It has what's nice about that, it's a VST, I believe, and I can use it in Resolve and other DAWs like Logic or Cubase, which is the main ones I use these days, or it's Nuendo, technically. I use the Nuendo version of Steinberg's software. But anyways, I like how you can go right into Resolve. So what I can do, actually, we'll just do a little thing right here on this little video itself. So hopefully right here, you can hear the echo. I'm having all the mics on at the same time now. So you can hopefully hear this echoing that's happening. So this is what I was talking about, where I would have a dialogue thing and everybody's talking like, hey, this is my scene, like, you can't do that. And it's super echoey. It's like, what the heck is going on? So hopefully I fix it now. Now they're all phase aligned with this Align Pro. I mean, Post-Align 2, or whatever the software. If I got it wrong, I'll put a little third or whatever. But this is basically how you fix it. So this is without the alignment, and this is with it back in. So let's put this guy back down. And just like this, so I can solo, so I can hear myself. So without the phasing, because I just have it soloed, because it drives me nuts hearing this back. But anyways, that's one of the problems I had with the audio-wise, where I have that phasing issue during set, and I couldn't really figure out, because I had never really had to deal with it before, because most of the stuff was pretty close, and I usually use one audio source, so I didn't really have a problem with it. But so the way I had to fix it with the phasing before I figured out how to do it with this software is I just basically I had to think like automation audio, because keyframes video, automation, and audio, I think. Anyways, so automation, they'll like just like cut, like drop the audio for the people who are not talking, bring it back up. But when they're both talking at the same time, that's where it's like, try to pick the right one if I can. But that was kind of like the reason I like it. Again, that's the reason why it almost was a failed product, because the audio was just gone. And like, if you don't have good audio, it'll seem like not great. But that's kind of the thing. Like, also, I just gotta think this actually for the wrestling. Like, I have a lav on right now, so let's see if I can hear myself. Test. Yeah. So usually in the audio, I could have it where I had, when I laved them with this kind of collared shirt, I had them where I had lavs in the pockets here, and they're small enough where you can't really see it. I had it tucked in. Right now I'm touching my shirt because you can see all the wrestling. But for the normal movement, what I'm doing right now, this invisible part, which is kind of technique I'm playing around with right now. See, it's like not terrible movement. It's a little bit when I do this. Oops, about that. But like normal general like movement like this, or if you're standing still, it's pretty clear. So now let's go back to the Shure mic, and this would be like almost like you're booming it. So ideally, booming it sounds better if you can, but if you're picking up other audio sources, then it's not so great. But yeah. So let me just go through my notes. See, fix lavalier problems. And okay, just general stuff now. But okay, yeah, so I'll wrap up the audio part of it. So that's pretty much what that's a good chunk of what I learned for Adventure Week for the short film I worked on, is dealing with the audio part. So now that I know this, I'm kind of moving away from lavalier systems that don't have that's one other thing. The reason I also moving away from like DJI lavalier mics, because at least two of the scenes, I had one of the talent's microphone pop out. So right now I'm tethered to this microphone to my guy right here. And one of the scenes, they popped out. I think it was like this, one of the parts, the last part of the standoff, and one scene in the saloon, I believe, if I'm correct. And it just popped out. So I had to use AI to kind of like fix it up a little bit with some tools I have from like Waves, which helped out a lot, but it's like, it still didn't sound quite great. So I need to figure out how to do that a little bit better in post, just in case that solution comes down the line. But I want to hopefully reduce that problem by not having the problem. So with let's see if here, I'll just pull this guy out real quick. So This is again Sennheiser. This is what Rode does not have. So watch this. Cool, isn't it? But anyways, so with this guy, it's got threaded where you can put your lavalier on here with this little guy. So this is what I'm playing around with. I got one of these for I think Black Friday sale, and got another one coming soon. So pop that guy back in. But I like that because I no chance of that sucker popping out. So I had it where that happened twice during that shoot kind of thing. And the Rode has the locking pin, which is great. But the DJIs did not do it. So it happened enough times where I think it was it second or third day? It might have been the third day where I was like, okay, I'm taping this. Everybody's like, duh. It's like, but after that point, I just taped the base of the microphone. So it's like just always attached to that microphone until basically that product shoot is done. So it's like, okay, this is done now. I'm not going to do that again unless I'm taping up. So anytime I use those mics, I always try to tape it up as best I can. But now I'm kind of moving to these locking pin stuff, especially with the Sennheiser. I did try Saramonic, but again, doesn't have the locking pin, which is kind of like, I really don't want to do that. Plus, it had some weird audio frequency, so I had to send that sucker back. But that's why I'm trying these Sennheiser. So hopefully, with the shoot, I'm going to hopefully have in, I think there's one in February, and then I'll have one down the line for probably Venture Week again, for depending what theme they have this coming year. But yeah, that was kind of like a weird problem. Again, for the audio, just popping out, the phasing. I still can't figure out why it wrecked going into the zoom. I still can't figure out. My theory is I had power supply going into the receiver, like USB-C, just because I just want to make sure that lasts the whole day. But I think doing with this system and with the Rodes, the battery will last longer. And if I could have the receiver hooked into this guy, and this is the battery, and it has where is it? Oh, it's on the receiver itself. Yeah, once it's hooked in here, it's receiving power from this or putting power into it, and you can get the USB audio out to go to the main device itself. So that's cool. So I can have this guy basically upside down, place on here, and this will be charged all day. So the receiver will have plenty of battery, and then I think the transmitters can last 8 hours. I think I haven't done a hard test of that. I love to do that. Just wear it the whole day and just hit record and see what happens to me when I'm editing or talking to myself or this podcast kind of thing. So we'll see how that goes. But point being, I think that's my theory, that why that had that weird frequency going into it. If I was the cables at first, but then when I had the frequency happening, I think it was I think it was DJI, or it's definitely the Saramonic kind of thing. And then I swapped the cable to the Rode. It's fine. It's okay, but some reason that day all of them had that weird frequency issue. So my theory is I just had the power USB on them, and that just created enough buzz in all of it that it just ruined it for that day. So I need to figure out how to repeat the issue, but hopefully I can figure that out down the road. But again, this podcast is kind of just a theory how I figure out stuff, and then I'll shift everybody to other channels so I can do more of a breakdown, more technical how to do it. I think it's this is Cut to Brett. So I think Brett A. Hanson Film and Visual Effects, at least on Rumble. That's kind of I like to have those kind of split apart because it's kind of different subjects per se. And so the film would be the sound design, filming, editing, that sort of stuff. And then the visual effects would be the visual effects. For this product, there wasn't too many visual effects. It was mostly the banner. So on the first episode, if you've ever seen it, I'll link the video of the first episode, at least from this podcast. And I had it where I just want to replace the banner. So on set there, they had banners over I think a couple spots. And one was Jesse James. Then I replaced it with Vaughn, who is our villain character for these films. And I swapped, I think, for the opener, a bumper kind of thing. And then Kiki, our director, asked me could I replace it for the rest of the shots at that beginning sequence. And it's okay. So then I got the first one, it was kind of tricky because I believe Zach, one of the who was the sheriff, he passes the camera, and then so I had to mask him out, put him on top, and have the banner there, and then they both cross it with I think the side shot, and then the pillar. If I remember, there's about 7 shots in there. I had to replace it, and I use a Dimitri Rawls magic mask because I just did not have time to do the rotoscoping correctly in the amount of shots just to rotoscope alone. I didn't have time for it, so I tried okay, I'll try. I've done a little tests here and there to do it. It's okay, I'll try it, see what happens. And I went through it, and when I did the first visual effects shot for it, oh, that worked out surprisingly well. It's like it wasn't perfect because I was just rushing with it, but like normally what I had to do with rotoscoping for visual effects shots for that specific shot, it's like I actually have time to do it now, which is really cool. So that was kind of cool. I don't think I really did anything else other than like the banner at the end for visual effects, the graphic. I think it was the CG graphics. Oh yeah, and the clock. I did a clock CG of that. It looks like for quality wise, it's not great. My CG is not the best in the world, but it got the job done for this project. But yeah, not too many visual effects, but like it was kind of fun making the clock and such. Let's see, I'm just looking through my notes real quick. Okay, yeah. So yeah, again, like for the audio part, it was just that was the hardest day for me because I was just grinding. I was barely sleeping. I just had to get through the issue, and then once I figured it out, then the second day onward was a lot better, and I could relax, which is great. For our camera setup, mostly what we did is had the FX3 on a gimbal, and other camera operator, Jordan. Thinking of the different characters in my head. So Jordan, he was her second camera op, and he used the A7S on the kind of indie version of the Easy Rig. If I have any behind the scenes, I'll play it during this kind of stuff, of the rig stuff. So it was kind of cool. Like that's my normal setup is the 24-70 on the gimbal, and then he was using the 16-35 just to get the wider shots with the A7S. I'm hoping to replace the A7S someday soon because like I'm just so used to the FX3. It's just I like it kind of thing, but with all the new cameras these days, like what can I replace it with? But point being, we were using Sony cameras to keep within the same kind of ecosystem. And then Zoom for our main recorder, DJI and Rode for the lav, or transmitters systems for that. And I think we use mostly all Rode lavs for the lavaliers like this stuff kind of thing. I'm just tapping my chest where the lav is. And I think one Shure, maybe a Ceramonic. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I think I had to use some off-brand just because I needed more mics. So we mostly use that. And so we had a boom pole with the Sennheiser 416, which is one of my favorite dynamic mics. Boom shotgun mics is one of my favorites. It's my go-to. It sounds really great for clarity for like the dialogue. It's a little bit, it is more mid-frequency. So I noticed I think we used it for like going to the beach, you do hear the waves a lot harder, more clear on the Shure Sennheiser 416 mic than like say Rode. But for dialogue in general, I like it better. But for like beach stuff, I would definitely lob people up because you can get better audio. Otherwise, you just hear the crashing wave, and it's hard to clean that up. But yeah, so that was basically it for like the audio standpoint. Like just I had to do a lot of the grinding stuff, and if you watch the podcast with me and Zach, where he gave me food when I was grinding all that stuff. So if you haven't seen that episode, go check that the first episode. This is going to be the second episode of this podcast where I just talk about this in general. And yeah, this is pretty good for the most half of like just going through all the aspects of the podcast. And yeah, the visual is good. We did a lot of B-roll, like the fun slow motion stuff. And in general, like just moving around and be able to be like on set and like plan the shoots kind of thing and do some more creative stuff. But I like to do another short film of a Western theme down the road because I've always wanted to do a Western since I was a kid. I grew up watching Westerns. And this is, again, this more tailored towards kids kind of thing. So I'd like to make one myself down the road so I can actually have a gunplay going on or something funny, almost like Alba Duncan game where it's kind of like funny, but like it's action, but no one really gets hurt per se. Kind of like almost like the A-Team. That's the one idea I had. I pitched them for this film is where like you have gunplay, guns are blazing. So there's ricochets going everywhere. Everybody's like popping shots off, but no one is getting hit. No one's getting hurt. It's kind of like, again, like the A-Team, like someone's popping shots and then it's like explosion or whatever. We wouldn't do in that set. I probably have to do the visual effects wise, but we'll see how that goes. But I'm trying to think that just when we look through my notes, like we talked about general gear. Oh yeah, we slated during time code. We did that to sync all the cameras. It was made it post a lot quicker and faster. Let's see. Yeah, just learning how to film with multiple people, talent. Like Christian and Colt did a great job for the comedic relief for it. It made it hard holding the camera because they're just so funny sometimes, especially certain moments. And again, like Zach and I talked about in the podcast before this, we were talking about more of that stuff. And yeah, this was really fun to do. And I just want to use this podcast to kind of explain my Basically, it's for myself right now. I just like how I went through and how I problem solve certain stuff and fix certain things, more theory based. That's why I want to have this cut to Brett. Like it's a play on words, like cut to black kind of thing. That's the phrase for like I think for a script writing kind of thing, or that's often phrased in film. It's like cut to black, and I just cut to me. So I'm me, Brett. That's where the name came from. So if this comes to be a normal thing, I'll do more of these. But I have one more podcast coming soon. It's going to be about more how I did a Christmas elementary project for my church kind of thing. It's more like graphics. I'm gonna, because this for this episode, I talked more about the audio problems I had with this, in a general rough like idea like what went on set. But we'll see how that goes. But for right now, like this one is kind of like, again, focused audio and kind of general the product. And I already had another one talking about the project already, so I already have two. And the next one would be about elementary, some graphics. I use Magic Mask with like kind of cool graphic for like Team Versus, like for the kids game. And I think a scroll opening, like for like a, almost like, seems like almost like a fairy tale story opening, but even though we're talking about the story of Jesus in the Christmas story, I had it where it was a scroll opening. We had a person who animated the story by hand on, I think it was on his iPad or something like that. It was pretty cool, but I think it got the aspect ratio slightly off. So I'm like, okay, how can I, because the edges were black where I needed to fill it. So I think I initially filled it. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. If you want to watch that podcast, check the next episode. I'll probably announce it on my Instagram at some point. So I almost got a side noted. So if you want to watch that, subscribe to this Rumble or YouTube. I think this will end up on YouTube. Subscribe to that, and you will see what I did to fix that stuff and go from there. So I think that's it for me for this podcast right now. It's a little long because this is the first time I'm trying these podcasts kind of thing. So it's about 20-30 minutes. So I think this is good for right now. But if you enjoy this podcast, subscribe and like the video, share it with your friends and such like that, and let me know if you want to hear more subjects, what I'm planning to do, or how to do certain stuff, maybe on my other channels. So this would be like, if you want to see like tutorials or whatever on my other channels, actually probably leave a comment on this video. That way I'll shift it to those like either visual effects or editing or like certain techniques kind of thing. I might not be able to show the footage per se on the edit stuff per se, but actually I probably could, maybe. We'll see. Anyways, so that's it for me for right now. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate everybody who's willing to watch my videos right now. Like, yeah, I really, like, I'm just a small, very small Rumble YouTube channel, especially with my stuttering. That hasn't to do with it, but I'm just trying this out for right now as a creative way of doing this, and also just get ideas and thoughts out for what I worked on. So thank you so much. Have a good day. Happy New Year. And I'll let you know when the next ones come out for the third episode of this podcast, which would be talking about the elementary stuff. And then I have one more after that. And from there, I'll just gotta come up with some more ideas for a podcast. So take care. Have a good day. Happy New Year. And I hope to see you on the next one. Take care. And oh yeah, as an intro, like outro, this is Brett. I thank you for watching for Cut to Brett. My name is Brett A. Hanson. I hope to see y'all later. Take care and Godspeed. See you guys.